What if everyone who makes you feel good about yourself just vanished tomorrow? Your friends stop calling. Your family goes quiet. Your Instagram gets 0 likes. Nobody wants to hang out with you anymore. Nobody cares what you think. Nobody even notices you exist. Most people would completely fall apart. They'd be crying, begging, doing anything to get that attention back. But there's this weird type of person who would actually feel relieved when this happens. And honestly, these people scare the hell out of everyone else. You probably know someone like this. They don't need constant texting to feel okay. They can eat lunch alone without looking around nervously. They make big decisions without calling 10 people first. They don't post selfies, fishing for compliments. When you're with them, you can feel this strange energy, like they don't really need you there. It's uncomfortable, right? Because most of us are so used to people who desperately want to be liked that when we meet someone who genuinely doesn't care, it feels almost wrong. But here's what's crazy. That uncomfortable feeling you get around them, that's actually fear. You're scared of someone who can't be controlled. Think about everyone in your life. Your needy friends are easy to handle. Compliment them, and they'll do favors for you. Ignore them, and they'll chase you. But this independent person, you can't manipulate them with praise. You can't hurt them by walking away. You can't make them do anything because they don't need what you're offering. That makes them dangerous. 500 years ago, there was this Italian guy named Niccolo Machiavelli who figured this out the hard way. He was a big-shot politician until one day, boom, he lost everything. His job, his friends, his status, all gone. He got kicked out of the city and sent to live alone in the countryside. Most people would have spent their time crying and begging to come back. But Machiavelli did something different. He used that loneliness as a laboratory to study human nature without any distractions. While he was alone, with nobody to impress and nobody to please, Machiavelli saw things clearly for the first time. He realized that most people are weak and predictable. They'll do almost anything to avoid being alone. They need others to tell them they're good, smart, worthy. And that need, that desperate hunger for approval, makes them easy to control. Machiavelli wrote down everything he learned about power, fear, and human weakness. His book terrified kings and rulers for centuries because he revealed the truth that nobody wanted to admit. Most people are emotional slaves. This isn't about becoming cold or mean. This is about becoming psychologically bulletproof. When you stop needing other people to feel good about yourself, you become the most dangerous person in any room. Not because you'll hurt anyone, but because nobody can hurt you. And in a world where everyone is desperate to be liked, the person who doesn't care becomes instantly powerful. Here's the brutal truth that nobody wants to admit. 99% of people are emotional junkies, and their drug of choice is other people's approval. They wake up every morning needing their fix. They check their phone before they even brush their teeth, hoping for likes, messages, anything that proves someone cares about them. They can't make a simple decision, like what to eat for lunch, without asking 3 people first. They stay in relationships that drain them because being with the wrong person feels better than being alone. They're not living their own life, they're performing in everyone else's show. This addiction is destroying them, and they don't even realize it. Every time you need someone else to tell you you're okay, you're giving away a piece of your power. Every time you change your opinion because you're afraid people won't like what you really think, you're becoming weaker. Every time you say yes when you want to say no, just to avoid conflict, you're training yourself to be a pushover. Most people are so hooked on this validation drug that they'll do absolutely anything to get it, even if it ruins their life. Machiavelli learned this lesson when he was completely cut off from his supply. When he got exiled, nobody was there to pat him on the head and tell him he was special. No friends to comfort him, no colleagues to stroke his ego. For the first time in his adult life, he had to face himself without any emotional crutches. And you know what happened? Instead of falling apart, he became stronger. He realized that all those years of needing other people's approval had actually made him weak and blind. See, when you're constantly worried about what others think, you can't see reality clearly. You're too busy trying to please everyone to notice what's actually happening around you. You make decisions based on what will make people happy, not what will actually work. You avoid hard truths because they might upset someone. You become predictable because you're always reacting to other people's moods and expectations. Machiavelli called this emotional dependency a form of slavery, and he was right. But here's where it gets interesting. The moment you break free from needing others, everything changes. When Machiavelli stopped caring about getting back into politics, stopped trying to impress the powerful people who had rejected him, something incredible happened. His mind became crystal clear. He could see people's motivations without the fog of his own neediness getting in the way. He understood that most people are driven by fear, greed, and the desperate need to feel important. And once you see this clearly, you can never be manipulated again. This is why independence is so terrifying to most people. A person who doesn't need validation can't be bought with compliments. They can't be controlled with guilt trips. They can't be manipulated with social pressure. They make decisions based on logic and their own values, not on what will get them liked. In a world full of people desperate for approval, the person who genuinely doesn't care becomes untouchable. And that kind of psychological freedom, that's the foundation of real power. Let's get real for a second. When was the last time you went an entire day without needing someone else's opinion about something? When did you last make a big decision completely on your own? Can you even sit in a restaurant by yourself without feeling like everyone's staring at you? If you're being honest, the answer is probably never. And that's not your fault. You've been trained since childhood to be addicted to other people's reactions. Your brain literally gets a hit of dopamine every time someone likes your post, agrees with your opinion, or laughs at your joke. It's the same chemical reaction that happens with drugs or gambling. You post a photo and then refresh Instagram obsessively, waiting for that validation high. You tell a story and watch people's faces, desperately hoping they'll smile or nod. You ask for advice, not because you actually need it, but because you need someone to confirm that your thoughts matter. This isn't connection. This is addiction. The scary part is how sneaky this dependency becomes. You think you're being social, but really, you're being needy. You think you're caring about others, but really, you're using them as emotional crutches. You can't trust your own judgment anymore because you've outsourced all your confidence to other people. You don't even know what you actually want versus what you think will get you approved of. Your entire personality has become a performance designed to get reactions. Machiavelli discovered this when he was forced to detox from human approval. Sitting alone in his little house in the countryside, with no political friends to impress and no fancy parties to attend, he had to confront a terrifying question. Who was he when nobody was watching? At first, it was brutal. Without constant feedback from others, he felt lost. But slowly, something incredible happened. His real thoughts started coming back. His authentic opinions emerged. His genuine desires surfaced. For the first time in years, he wasn't performing for anyone. This is when Machiavelli made his most important discovery. Most people's confidence isn't actually theirs. It's borrowed. They feel good about themselves only when others make them feel good. They think they're smart only when others tell them they're smart. They believe they're attractive only when others show interest. But borrowed confidence is fake confidence. It can be taken away at any moment by whoever gave it to you. Real confidence comes from within, and you can only find it when you stop looking for it in other people. Here's the test that will reveal how addicted you really are. Try going 48 hours without seeking any validation from anyone. Don't post on social media. Don't ask anyone's opinion about anything. Don't fish for compliments. Don't even tell people about your problems, hoping they'll comfort you. Just exist without needing any emotional feedback. Most people can't make it 6 hours before they're desperately reaching for their phone or starting conversations just to feel connected. The withdrawal is real, and it's uncomfortable as hell. But here's what happens when you push through that discomfort. You start hearing your own voice again. You remember what you actually like and dislike, not what you think you should like. You realize how much mental energy you've been wasting on managing other people's opinions of you. You discover that you're actually much stronger than you thought when you're not constantly looking for someone else to hold you up. This is what Machiavelli experienced during his exile, the terrifying but liberating realization that he didn't need anyone's permission to be himself. So what actually happens when you stop being that needy person everyone can read like an open book? Everything changes. And I mean everything. When you're emotionally dependent on others, you become ridiculously predictable. Want to control you? Just give you attention or take it away. Want to manipulate you? Just agree with you or argue with you. Want to use you? Just make you feel special or threaten to leave. You're like a remote control that everyone knows how to operate. But the moment you genuinely stop needing other people's approval, you become completely unreadable. People can't figure out what makes you tick because you're not desperately searching for their validation. They can't push your buttons because you don't have the same buttons as everyone else. They try the usual tricks, ignoring you, complimenting you, creating drama, and nothing works. You just stay calm and do whatever you think is right. This drives people absolutely crazy because they've never met someone they can't emotionally manipulate. Here's something most people don't realize. Neediness is repulsive, but independence is magnetic. Think about the most attractive people you know. I'm not talking about physical looks. I'm talking about that person who just has this energy that draws everyone to them. They're not trying to impress anyone. They're not constantly checking if people like them. They're just comfortable in their own skin, doing their own thing. That confidence is incredibly attractive because it's so rare. Machiavelli figured this out during his exile. While other politicians were desperately trying to get back into power by kissing up to the right people, he was studying the game from the outside. He watched how rulers fell when they became too dependent on others' loyalty. He saw how people respected leaders who didn't seem to need their approval more than leaders who were obviously hungry for it. He realized that the moment you stop chasing something, people start chasing you instead. This shows up everywhere in real life. In dating, the person who's not desperate for a relationship is the one everyone wants to date. In business, the employee who doesn't desperately need the job is the one who gets promoted. In friendships, the person who's comfortable being alone is the one everyone wants to hang out with. It's this weird, backward psychology. The less you need people, the more they need you. But here's the part that really matters for your daily life. When you're truly independent, your thinking becomes crystal clear. You're not making decisions based on what will make others happy or what will avoid conflict. You're making decisions based on what actually makes sense. You stop saying yes to things you hate just to be nice. You stop pretending to agree with opinions you think are stupid. You stop wasting time with people who drain your energy. Your life becomes authentically yours for the first time. People will notice this change immediately, and honestly, some of them won't like it. They'll say, "You've become cold, distant, or arrogant." What they really mean is that you're no longer easy to control, and that makes them uncomfortable. They were used to the old you who needed their approval and would bend over backwards to get it. This new version of you, who makes decisions independently, threatens them because it shows them how needy and dependent they still are. The beautiful thing is that you won't care about their complaints, not because you've become mean, but because you've finally learned to trust your own judgment over other people's opinions. You'll start attracting different kinds of people, ones who respect your independence instead of trying to exploit your neediness. You'll find that genuine relationships become possible for the first time because you're connecting from strength, not from desperation. And most importantly, you'll never again have to live in fear of what happens if people stop liking you, because you'll know you're perfectly fine on your own. Okay, enough theory. Let's get practical. If you're tired of being that person who checks their phone every 5 minutes, hoping someone cares, here's exactly how to break free. But I'm warning you right now, this is going to feel uncomfortable as hell at first. Your brain is going to fight you every step of the way because you're literally rewiring years of needy behavior. Step 1 is the digital detox test, and most people fail this within hours. For the next 48 hours, you're going to stop seeking validation online completely. No posting selfies, fishing for compliments. No sharing your thoughts, hoping people will agree. No posting about your problems, wanting sympathy. Don't even like other people's posts, because half the time you're just doing it, hoping they'll like yours back. Turn off all your notifications and put your phone in another room when you're home. The goal isn't to disappear completely. It's to see how desperately your brain craves that digital approval drug. You're going to feel anxious. You're going to want to grab your phone and post something just to feel connected. You'll think of a funny joke, and your first instinct will be to tweet it for validation. Resist that urge. Sit with the discomfort. That uncomfortable feeling, that's your neediness screaming because it's not getting fed. Machiavelli didn't have social media during his exile, but he had to resist the urge to write letters begging his old political friends to take him back. He sat with that loneliness and used it to understand himself better. Step 2 is the opinion fast. For the next week, make 3 important decisions without asking anyone what they think. Pick where you want to go for vacation. Choose what career move to make next. Decide whether to end that relationship that's been draining you. Don't call your mom. Don't text your best friend. Don't create a poll on your Instagram story. Just sit quietly, think it through, and decide based on what you actually want, not what you think others want for you. This is going to feel terrifying because you've been using other people as emotional crutches for so long. What if you make the wrong choice? What if people judge your decision? Here's the reality check. You've been making wrong choices this whole time by letting others decide for you. At least when you mess up on your own, you learn something. When you mess up following someone else's advice, you just become more dependent on outside opinions. Step 3 is the comfort zone break. Do something alone that you normally would never do without other people. Go see a movie by yourself. Take yourself out to a nice dinner. Travel somewhere for a weekend solo trip. Go to a concert alone. The point isn't to become antisocial. It's to prove to yourself that you don't need other people to have a good time or feel confident. Most people are terrified of looking weird or lonely in public. But here's what actually happens when you start doing things alone. You realize that nobody cares as much as you think they do. That couple at the restaurant isn't judging you for eating alone. They're probably arguing about their own problems. The people at the concert aren't thinking you're a loser. They're focused on the music. You've been living in a prison of imaginary judgment. Now let me tell you the warning signs that you're backsliding. If you catch yourself making decisions based on what will get the best reaction on social media, you're slipping back into neediness. If you're staying in conversations or relationships that drain you just because you're afraid of being alone, you're not there yet. If you're still changing your opinions based on who you're talking to, you've got more work to do. But here are the signs you're actually succeeding. You'll start feeling genuinely calm when you're alone instead of anxious. You'll make decisions faster because you're not waiting for everyone else's input. People will start coming to you for advice because you seem more confident and clear-headed. You'll notice that you're attracting different types of people, ones who respect your independence instead of trying to use your neediness. The compound effect of these small changes is incredible. Every time you choose your own opinion over someone else's, you build real confidence. Every time you enjoy your own company, you become less desperate for others. Every time you make a decision independently, you trust yourself a little more. After a few months of this, you'll look back and barely recognize the needy person you used to be. And the best part? Other people will notice the change too, even if they can't quite put their finger on what's different about you. If you're tired of needing others to feel good about yourself, here's your challenge. Comment below the biggest dependency you're ready to break. Is it constantly checking your phone for validation? Always asking others before making decisions? Staying in draining relationships because you're afraid of being alone? This isn't about becoming cold. It's about becoming unbreakable. When you stop needing everyone's approval, you don't lose friends. You find out who your real friends are. You don't become lonely. You become selective. The person you become when you need nobody is the person everyone remembers. So drop that comment. Tell me what dependency you're breaking free from, because the moment you stop being everyone's emotional slave is the moment you become the master of your own life.